What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Marvel Snap video, and today's a special one. We finally hit Infinite Rank. Yes, finally, level 100, rank 100, Infinite Rank. Finally got it. Collection level over 2,000 now, so it did take me a little while to get it. I was so close last season. I think last season I ended at 97, but we finally hit Infinite Rank. And I want to go ahead and show you the deck that I used, as well as kind of explain the thought process behind this deck because it is a little unique. It's a little bit different. I feel like I've seen not a lot of people do what I've done with this deck, so I think it is pretty unique in that sense. And show you some gameplay with it as well. So let's go ahead and dive into the deck real quick. All right, so this here is the deck I used to get to Infinite Rank. I started playing this at around maybe rank 80 and took it all the way to Infinite. So this is my primary deck that I put together myself, and it is a lot of fun to play, but it is kind of a weird deck. I'm not gonna lie. It might seem like not good at first, but it is. Trust me, it's a solid deck. So let's go ahead and walk through it. I might have a lot to talk about here because this deck is very it's very weird. It's very weird. It is. But I would encourage you to stay and listen to my thought process on the cards and why I chose them. But if you don't want to do that, you can go ahead and skip to the gameplay. I'll have a timestamp in the description to go ahead and do that. But I would encourage you to stick around and listen to my explanation on the deck. Oh, and one more thing before I get into it. I also just created a Discord server for this community. So if you like Marvel Snap and just want to go ahead and join the community and chat it up, with me or any other people about Marvel Snap, could just be, taking a look at your deck list, could be asking for advice on Token Shop, things like that, or just you rant about Marvel Snap. Could be anything. Or even if you don't want to talk about Marvel Snap, you want to talk about something random, go ahead, join the Discord. I'll put a link to that in the description down below. Okay, now without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this deck. Every single card in this deck has a purpose, and I really truly believe that this deck is one of, if not the best deck that I have ever created. It is really strong and fun to play. So when I was putting this deck together, I wanted to do something different from the meta. I wanted to do something different from, the leaders and the leeches. I did a lot of Silver Surfer decks in the past. If you know me, I love Silver Surfer, but I wanted to do something different. I wanted to branch out a little bit different. I wanted to also kind of counter the meta in a way, right? So in the meta, there's a lot of leader, there's a lot of leech, and there is a lot of Sarah decks as well. Decks that really rely on a big explosive turn 6, and Mr. Negative as well. Mr. Negative is another deck that's prominent in the meta. So what is a card that's good at shutting that down? It's Sandman. Sandman is, in my opinion, one of the most underrated cards in Marvel Snap at the moment. I think it's because he's 1 power. I think he should actually be 2 power, to be honest with you. Maybe even 3 power, but I think 2 power would be fair for him. But basically, Sandman has an ongoing ability that players can only play 1 card per turn, and this just absolutely shuts down Sarah decks and Mr. Negative decks and Silver Surfer decks, really just any deck that wants to play a bunch of cards on turns 5 and 6. This card just absolutely shuts them down, and I found myself winning so many games with Sandman. Now, you don't always play Sandman. The thing is, with this deck as well, you got to have like a good understanding of the current meta in Marvel Snap, and you got to recognize what cards, what type of deck your opponent is playing by turn 4, because by turn 4 you need to make a decision. You're gonna say, okay, do I play Sandman or do I play something else like Attuma or a lizard plus armor or something like that. So you really got to make a decision by turn 4. Do I play Sandman against this deck or not? And usually it should be kind of obvious by turn 4 what kind of deck they're playing. That is the reasoning for Sandman. Another card that goes well with Sandman, which I believe is highly, highly underrated, Ronan the Accuser. When was the last time you saw anybody use this card to get infinite? I've never seen anyone do it. Am I the first to do it? Maybe, maybe not. But I think this card is highly underrated. 5 energy, 3 power, ongoing ability, plus 2 power for each card in your opponent's hand. So similar to Devil Dinosaur, however, Ronan gets power off of cards in your opponent's hand. Well, that's a little bit tricky to do, right? Because controlling your opponent's hand is a little bit harder to do than controlling your own hand. However, he pairs very well with Sandman because Sandman means that our opponent can only play one card a turn. So we can fill up their hand and we can limit them to only playing one card per turn, which will keep our Ronin nice and stacked. And furthermore, we play Maximus. Maximus is starting to become, I think, one of the best 3-cost cards in the game. He's 3 energy for 7 power, which is just insane value. On reveal, your opponent draws 2 cards. So a really, really good combo with this deck is you play Maximus on turn 3, you put 7 points on the board. Your opponent's thinking, oh, they just gave me 2 free cards. What are they doing? You're like, and then they might snap on you because they just got their key combo pieces or whatever, right? They're like, yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm going to snap. You play Maximus on turn 3. You play Sandman on turn 4, and you snap back, and they're like, oh, crap. Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. So their hand is full of cards. They can only play 1 card per turn, and your Ronin is absolutely huge by turn 5. And turn 6, you can follow up with either a Doctor Doom, a Red Skull, or a Taskmaster to copy the Ronin. So that is why Ronin is in the deck. A very, very good card. And again, he's also good against Devil Dinosaur decks, right? Because those decks like to have a full hand anyways. So if they're gonna play a big Devil Dinosaur, then your Ronin's gonna be big as well. So that's why I really like Ronin in this list. Let's take it back from the beginning. Let's go with the 1-drops here. So Sunspot, at the end of each turn, gain +1 power for each unspent energy. So sometimes your hand or your energy curve can be a little bit awkward. So sometimes we might find ourselves skipping the first couple turns. That's where Sunspot just gives us the maximum value for our energy. So he'll take up any unspent energy and convert that into power. So I really like Sunspot for that. Another goal with this deck is if we are planning on playing Sandman, since he's such a low tempo play, he's only 1 power. It is such a slow play. We try and make up for that by playing really high cost cards, turns 1 through 3. That's why we got Sunspot, Zero, Ebony Maw, Lizard, Maximus. So that is why I also try and play high tempo cards, turns 1 through 3. That way, if we play Sandman on turn 4, we should be good to go ahead and make a slower play. Next up, we got Zero. Zero is another key card in this deck. He's 1 energy for 3 power, so solid stats for the energy. On reveal, remove the abilities on the next card you play. Now, the main target for Zero is going to be Red Skull, because Red Skull actually has a negative effect. Red Skull is 5 energy, 15 power. Ongoing enemy cards at this location have +2 power. So actually a negative effect that we want to cancel out. However, you can also cancel out Attuma. Attuma is 4 energy, 10 power. If you have another card here at the end of your turn, destroy this. So another negative ability that you can cancel out with Zero. Or we can also cancel out Ebony Maw. Ongoing, you can't play cards here. Or even further, you can also cancel out Maximus if you don't play Sandman. So let's say you identify a deck. So let's say maybe like a Spectrum Destroyer deck. Like those decks usually play 1 card per turn anyway. So Sandman isn't really going to be doing much there. So you could still play Maximus, but you don't want them to draw the cards, right? Well, you play Zero and you zero out the Maximus. That's a 10-point play between 2 cards. So you deny them the 2 draws, which is really, really effective. Sometimes you can use him to zero out Lizard. However, this is really like your last choice to use Zero on, since Lizard also has a negative ability. But really, you want to be using it on Red Skull, Attuma, Maximus, or Ebony Maw. And then we have Ebony Maw here. So Ebony Maw is the highest power 1-cost card in the game. 7 energy, or 7 power, my bad, for 1 energy. So again, we're going with that theme of trying to get early game tempo. That way, when we play Sandman on turn 4, it doesn't feel as bad, right? So Ebony Maw is really strong in this list. I also run armor here. Armor does a lot in this deck. Armor has so many uses in this deck. So first off, armor protects our 1-cost cards from Killmonger, right? It's going to protect Sunspot. It's going to protect Zero. It's going to protect Ebony Maw. Secondly, it is going to counter destroy decks. So you play it on a lane where they play Nova, Bucky Barnes, things like that. Your enemy can't destroy those cards, right? And then armor also protects your big guys from Shang Chi. We run a lot of big units in this deck, like Red Skull, Attuma, Ronan, Taskmaster. Those are all going to get big, so armor protects them from Shang Chi. And also, armor actually goes really well with Attuma. So Attuma is Series 4 card. I don't know if I mentioned that. So a lot of you guys probably don't have him. I actually just got him luckily from a collector's reserve. But his ability reads, if you have another card here at the end of your turn, destroy this. This meaning himself. So you can play him on a lane to just kind of be on his own, 10 power in one lane, kind of like Namor. But if there's another card in that lane, he will kill himself. So you can negate that effect with Zero or armor. I usually find myself negating that effect more so with armor. That way you can play Attuma and armor and whatever else you want in that lane, and Attuma will be safe. The only thing you gotta watch out for is Magneto. Sometimes Magneto can pull out your Attuma from the armor lane and he will just destroy himself. So that is not good, but it's only happened to me like once or twice. Lizard is another early game tempo card, 5 power for 2 energy. So another early game tempo card to get us more power in the early game before we play Sandman. Already mentioned Maximus, early game tempo card. Maximus is such a good card in this deck because if you just play him and let your opponent draw 2 cards, you play Sandman. Or you can just cancel out his ability with Maximus. So Maximus is really a win-win, either way you play him, to be honest. Now, Taskmaster is going to set this card's power equal to the power of the last card you played. Now, ideally, you're probably going to be wanting to copy Red Skull, which is 15 power. Sometimes you copy Attuma as well, which is going to be 10 power. Or sometimes you copy Ronan, which I think if your opponent has 7 cards in their hand, I believe it is 17 power. Yeah, 17 power that he can potentially get to. 15 power if they have 6 cards in their hand. So Ronan can get pretty big too as well. So Taskmaster is going to copy one of these 3 cards. Red Skull, I did mention that usually want to zero him out. However, you don't always have to use zero on Red Skull. Sometimes you can just play him in a lane where your opponent has no cards there, and Red Skull is essentially just a big 15-point body. There's also, I don't remember the name of the location off the top of my head, but there is the location where ongoing effects are disabled. So you can play Red Skull in there and Lizard in there and Ebony Maw in there for really no downside at all, which is just huge. So yeah, Red Skull is very, very good in this deck. 15 power is a lot. Oh, and another thing I want to mention real quick with a Taskmaster is he actually copies power, including temporary power from locations. So let's say there's that location, I think it's called Nidavellir. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but the one that gives your cards +5 power at that location, Taskmaster will take that temporary bonus into account. So that's something to keep in mind with Taskmaster. And then we have Dr. Doom. Dr. Doom is not only just a good 6-cost card on his own, but he's a very good in this list. And the reason he is for a couple reasons. One, if you don't cancel out Ebony Maw with 0, well, you can't play cards in his location, right? Well, you can go ahead and slot a Doombot into that lane for 5 power. So Ebony Maw plus a Doombot will be 12 power in one location, which is a lot of power. So Dr. Doom goes really well with Ebony Maw. He also goes really well with just any troublesome locations that you can't really play any cards into. Death's Domain, Sanctum Sanctorum, the new feature location, Morag. Dr. Doom is really good for that. And Dr. Doom is also really good with Sandman, because Sandman, players can only play 1 card per turn. But with Dr. Doom, we can spread power across all 3 lanes with Dr. Doom by just playing 1 card while your opponent is probably just going to be forced to play one card in one lane, which can also make them kind of predictable as well, which lane they're going to play in. And Doctor Doom has us covered in all 3 lanes if we have Sandman on the board. So that is the deck. That is the reasoning behind every single card in this deck. Again, I think this is one of the best decks I ever created. Now, what are some downsides to this deck? Well, a downside to this deck is discard, actually, because Ronan likes to get buffed from cards in your opponent's hand, right? Well, discard likes to empty their hand. Now, the good thing about that is discard is not very strong, so you can still beat discard, but your Ronan is pretty much useless in a discard matchup. As well, discard is not very prevalent in the meta, so you're not going to see a lot of discard decks, but if you do, it does kind of suck for your Ronan. If you're going against like leader or leech decks, leader copying your Doctor Doom is not great. Now, if you play Taskmaster on turn 6 and your leader copies that, it's going to copy the leader for 4 points, so that's really good. If you get hit with a leech, that's fine, because your Red Skull, your Attuma, your Maximus, Lizard, those are all cards you're going to want to have their abilities taken away anyways, so that's pretty good. Other decks this deck might struggle against is just any other decks that have early game tempo to match us. There's not a lot of decks that really have early game tempo like this, unless they're playing some sort of similar zero deck. So I think this deck struggles against discard decks and similar style early game tempo decks. So yeah, those are the disadvantages of this deck. And another disadvantage I would say is that this deck is very expensive. I know it has a lot of Series 3 cards in there, and I know people are going to ask me, oh, what can you replace for this? What can you replace for this? And to be honest, I don't think any of these cards are replaceable. Once you change one card, it really changes the whole deck. The only one that I think is maybe replaceable is Attuma, since I know a lot of people are not going to have him. For Attuma, you can play any high power 4-cost card, so it could be like Jessica Jones, could be Rescue, could be Typhoid Mary, maybe even White Queen. That would be the only card I would say is maybe replaceable. If you replace any other card in this deck, it really changes the whole dynamic of the deck. Like I really spent a lot of time crafting this deck, and I really truly believe that every single card here has a purpose. And yeah, I think Attuma is probably the only one that's replaceable. Everything else is just so unique that you can't really replace it. But that is the deck. I know that was a really long explanation, so I appreciate you if you stuck with me during that. Hopefully it made sense. I kind of just tend to ramble on a bit. I'm trying to get better at that. Hopefully my thoughts made sense. And let's go ahead and get into some games. Maybe it'll actually make more sense once you see the deck in action. So let's get into it. All right, so jumping into a game. Now with Zero, I usually don't like to play him on turn 1. Unless maybe like there's the location, the cloning vats that gives you an extra copy, maybe I'll play Zero. So we get Lamentus 1. Not really a fan of this location. Let's see. So we got primary Zero target here is probably going to be Red Skull. He's going to snap. I'm not going to snap yet. We haven't even seen what the third location is. I've been trying to get better at snapping. And I tend to snap like between like turn 3, turn 5 is usually when I start to snap. So we're both going to play armor, actually. And there is Morag. So Dr. Doom is going to be very nice here. Now, Maximus is actually really good here. Since there's no more cards in their deck, we can just play Maximus essentially for a free 7 power. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll play him on the left lane for now. And a green goblin, okay. Not too worried about that. Okay, so Morag is ruined. Next, we have... I don't think Sandman is doing a lot in this matchup, to be honest. So I think what we're going to do is I'll play Sunspot on the left. And we'll play Zero in the middle. And then next turn we'll play Red Skull. And then we will play Dr. Doom as our finisher. And I think I'm going to snap back, actually, because I'm feeling pretty confident here. So, yeah, another thing that I tried to do while ranking up to infinite is just getting better at snapping and retreating. And they're going to play nothing here, so potentially maybe like a She-Hulk next turn. So he's going to play nothing here. We're going to play our Red Skull. I really want to play him on the right, but also part of me is thinking, what if they have a Shang Chi? What if they have a Shang Chi? I don't know. Or I could play him in the middle. I could play him in the middle. Maybe he's playing a Galactus. But then that would take up a slot for a Dr. Doombot. So I think I'll just play Red Skull on the right, actually. So let's see what he plays. A Killmonger. And all my one-cost cards were protected, so that is very good. And we just finish off with a Dr. Doom. And let's see if he retreats or if he stays in here or pulls something up his sleeve. I mean, if he plays Galactus in the middle, it's going to be a tie, right? Because Galactus... Actually, no, we would still win because of the Doombots. So even if it's a Galactus, we still win. We're in a very good position here. So we drop our Dr. Doom. Let's see what he's got. He's got a Shang-Chi, but it doesn't matter because we still take the dub. That's an 8Q victory right off the bat, man. I'm telling you, don't sleep on this deck. Like, even though we got hit with the Shang-Chi, like, our deck just has so many win conditions that it didn't even matter in the end. So that is a nice 8Q victory, back to 101. Okay, so next game we got, this is the location I was talking about earlier, actually, the Isle of Silence. That is really good for us. We could throw our Red Skull on there with basically no downside. We also have, okay, we got a good combo set up here. We can play, we got the Maximus, Sandman into Ronan and Red Skull at the end here. Now, usually I don't like to snap this early before turn 3, but our hand is so good, and we got Isle of Silence. I think I have to snap this early. So they're going to go ahead and play a Psylocke. That is a nice variant. I'm going to give you the starry eyes on that one. Ooh, we could play our Ebony Maw as well. Could do that. Oh, actually, do I want to play Ebony Maw? Do I still Sandman and then like Ronan here and then Red Skull? But no, I think we just play Maximus. We're going to play Ronan. We're going to play Sandman into Ronan. And it's a Mr. Negative deck, so Sandman just absolutely shuts them down. I wouldn't be surprised if they retreat after they see my Sandman. So we got to make sure to play him in the middle since ongoing effects are disabled. Absolutely just going to shut down this deck. Here comes the Sandman. Forge into Brood, maybe? Yep, there's the Brood. Now, that is a lot of power in that lane, but honestly, I think we can just ignore it. So what we can do... How many cards do they have in their hand? They have 6. So that means if they play 1, they're going to go down to 5, right? So that means Ronan is going to be 13 power. So I think Red Skull is actually going to be more here. Yeah, I'm going to play Red Skull since it's Isle of Silence. We'll play Red Skull here, and then we can either Taskmaster or Ronan in the middle for our last turn. I think Taskmaster is probably the better play there. So let's see what he does. So there's our Red Skull and an Iron Man. Oh man, I don't think that's gonna do much for you, my dude. I really don't think that's gonna do much for you. So I think we just Taskmaster, 15 points. So it'll be 22 on the left, 16 on the middle. I don't really see how he can come back from that, to be honest. Let's see what he plays. A Seraph? That's it? Oh, man. I'm telling you guys. I'm telling you. Sandman just shuts down Mr. Negative and Sarah. I'm telling you. I'm going to hit him with a fist bump since he hit me with one, too. So that was a good game. Next up, we got Hell's Kitchen. We drew our 0. So we got 0. Don't want to play 0 next turn. We could cancel out the Lizard, but I might draw something better. So Iceman is going to hit... He's going to hit our Lizard, actually. That kind of sucks. I think what we might do is maybe 0 Ebony Maw here. And then we could play Lizard Lizard on 3, or Maximus if we draw him. Sandman on 4, Ronan on 5, Doctor Doom on 6. That's the thing with this deck is like I kind of try and look at my hand and kind of try and play out in my head the moves I want to make. So I'm gonna play 0 Ebony Maw. I don't always like to play Ebony Maw until before turn 3, but I'm gonna do it in this case. And we're gonna play him in the middle since we can't play our big cards in here fast. So probably a negative Surfer deck maybe. Armor would be good as well, just in case, to protect these guys from a Killmonger. Now we got Sunspot and a Lizard. Just in case he is playing Killmonger, I'm going to play Lizard, actually, because if I play Sunspot, then just my entire board gets wiped by Killmonger. So let's play Lizard in the right lane. There's a Thor, okay. So I'm thinking maybe it is some sort of Surfer deck. And now we got... So we got Sandman, Sunspot, Attuma. Again, I don't think I want to play Sunspot here. We could play Attuma and just leave him on his own in this lane, but we do have Doctor Doom, so Doctor Doom doesn't really go well with Attuma in this situation. I think we'll just go ahead and play Sandman. I'm gonna play him on the right. And there's a Lockjaw. Okay. So an interesting deck. Go ahead and play Ronan. He's got 5 cards in his hand. We'll play Ronan on the left. I'm not gonna snap because I think Lockjaw is kind of another weakness to my deck because they can kind of cheat out multiple cards against our Sandman with Lockjaw. So Lockjaw is a bit troublesome for us. Oh, they got an Ironheart, a buffed Ironheart because of the Bast. And a Rogue is going to take the Sandman. Okay, that's fine. Actually, would have been better if it took the Lizard ability. So here we can do Taskmaster to copy the Ronan. Can also do Attuma plus... Oh, wait, no, we can't do Attuma plus armor because we can only play 1 card a turn. So we can't do that. So it's either Taskmaster or Doctor Doom. I think Doctor Doom is probably the safer play. That way we spread out our power across all 3 lanes. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to play Doctor Doom here on the left, and he's going to retreat. I'm telling you guys, I'm telling you, this deck is it, man. This is it. Ronan, put some respect on his name, man. Put some respect on it. Okay, so here we got Sunspot and Ebony Maw in our hand, and Hellfire Club. That kind of sucks, but it's fine. We can skip turn 1. I'm fine with that. Ooh, they got a nice Quinjet variant. Morag. Okay, that's kind of annoying now. So we can't play 1-cost cards there. We can't play our first card here. I could 0 Ebony Maw. However, we have a Red Skull in our hand, so I think I want to save 0 for Red Skull. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to play Sunspot on the right, and I'm going to play Ebony Maw in the middle. His negative effect doesn't really matter since it's kind of hard to play cards in this location anyways. And we have Doctor Doom as well. So I think I'm going to do that. And there's the armor. So that's actually good for us because that signals he probably doesn't play Killmonger. I doubt he runs Killmonger with armor and Quinjet. Armor's not really doing much for us here, I don't think. I could play 0 and like hope I draw Attuma, but I don't really want to do that. I want to save him for Red Skull. I'm going to play armor on the left just to kind of spread out our power a little bit. There's an Angela. Okay. Okay, so this is pretty good. We got 0. Yeah, let's play 0. Well, actually, the only place we can play 0 is on the right. So we'll play 0 here. Next turn, we Red Skull. And then last turn, we'll either Taskmaster or Doctor Doom, depending on what's the better play. Ant-Man. I wonder if it's a... Huh, that's kind of weird. Mojo and Ant-Man. I wonder if it's like an ongoing list, maybe? I want to play Red Skull on the left. I think so, right? Yeah, let's play Red Skull on the left. Blue Marvel. Soulstone. Oh, it's a Thanos deck. Wait, so did he just like not draw any any stones? That kind of feels bad for him. And we are pretty good. Okay, so I actually don't want to play Doctor Doom because it's going to activate the Mojo. I actually don't want to do that. So we'll play Taskmaster. If I snap, he's probably going to retreat. Right? I'm not going to snap then. Let's just play Taskmaster and see what he plays. Oh, actually, I might actually lose this because of the Ant-Man buff. Oh, the Thanos. Oh, wait, no, we still won because of the left lane. Dang, so we still won that. Yeah, it was the right call playing Taskmaster, because if we played Doctor Doom, it would fill up this lane and activate the Mojo. Actually, I think we still could have won that way, but I think Taskmaster was the better play. Anyways, so all right, another good game. Also, you guys know me, I'm not afraid to show my losses, and to be honest with you, I just haven't lost with this deck while recording so far. It's just that good, man. Like, I am not afraid to show my losses. I think every video I've done, I've shown at least 1 or 2 losses. I know some people say like, oh, they don't want to share losses because their viewership drops down or whatever. I mean, maybe it's true, maybe it's not, I don't know, but I just kind of like to be honest as possible. And to be honest with you, I just haven't lost while recording. So here, we can play Lizard, we can play Armor. I'm going to play Lizard in the left for now. We drew 0, which is good for our Red Skull. I could play Maximus, but since I don't have Ronan or Sandman in hand, I actually don't really want them to get the draw. I could 0 him out, but I want to save 0 for Red Skull, I think. Let's just play Armor on the left here. Not going to play 0 yet. It's going to Storm the middle, which I think is actually good for us. Dream Dimension actually kind of hurts us. Do I even want to... Oh, man. What if he plays Juggernaut, right? Because if I play something in here and it moves to Fisk Tower, I could potentially get killed by Juggernaut. And he snaps, so that kind of makes me believe that he probably does have Juggernaut. I think we're just gonna avoid this middle lane then and just play the right and left lane. So let's go ahead and do Sunspot. I'm gonna do Sunspot. We'll do Sunspot on the right. Also do 0 on the right. Gotta make sure we get them in the correct order because 0 is gonna cancel out our Red Skull. We don't want him to cancel out our Sunspot. And it is the Juggernaut. Totally called it. So good move on my part. As long as he doesn't have Killmonger, we're doing pretty good. I'm going to snap back. So we have options here. So this turn, obviously, we're going to play Red Skull. We're doing good in terms of power on the left, 8-0. We're only 6-4 here. So I'm going to play Red Skull on the right. And then we have the option to finish off with Taskmaster or Doctor Doom.
Friendly neighborhood Spider-Man here.
Spider-Man. So he's probably going to play Arrow or Magneto. We just absolutely destroy this guy because of Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom is not only going to fill up this slot to counter his Arrow or Magneto, whatever it is, but Doctor Doom also puts 5 points to tie the middle lane. So yeah, this is a easy money right here. I would not be surprised if he retreats, but let's see what happens. And he retreats. All right, so that would have been an easy 8-cube victory right there. And we actually climbed to even 102 with this deck, man. This deck is just absolutely solid. I'm telling you guys. So that was the deck list and the gameplay. And again, like I said before, I try to be open and honest and transparent with you guys. Currently, or rank 102, almost 2,200 collection level, and yeah, I just didn't lose at all while recording my games. Trust me, if there's a loss, I'm gonna show you guys. I'm not gonna, shy away from that. So yeah, that's the deck list. And once again, thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. I know it's a little bit longer. I'm not sure what the final runtime on this is gonna be. Hopefully it's not like an hour, but thank you for watching and sticking around. I really appreciate it. And again, if you want to join the Discord, just chat with me, chat with other community members about Marvel Snap or anything else, other card games, or just Marvel in general. Maybe you want to talk about the MCU. You guys see Black Panther 2? Just join the Discord server in the description down below. Also have timestamps for every game down below. Also have the deck code down below. Let me know what you thought about this deck. Let me know what you think about the video. If you like this kind of longer format video with a more in-depth explanation to it. And yeah, appreciate y'all. If you stayed to the end of this video, the keyword of this video to put in the comments to let me know that you stayed to the end of this video, the keyword is going to be Taskmaster. Stole this idea from Specimen. Shout out Specimen. But yeah, if you stay to the end of my video, the keyword is going to be Taskmaster. So type Taskmaster in the comments if you stay to the end, and I will know that you're a real one. So appreciate you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.